Reproduction is a creation of more organisms to keep the species going and allow evolution to happen. We've learned that there are two types of reproduction, asexual and sexual, the difference being that asexual reproduction has one parent and creates identical offspring, and sexual reproduction needs two parents and they create similar offspring. We've been talking about human reproduction and how we have specialized reproductive organs that produce reproductive cells. When they meet, fertilization can occur, and so females become pregnant and deliver a full-term baby. Human reproduction is possible since puberty. Puberty is the stage in human development in which the reproductive organs start producing active reproductive cells. This usually happens around ages 9 to 15. Puberty starts when the brain sends a message to a gland called the pituitary gland to increase its production of two hormones, follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. The message is received by the reproductive glands, called gonads. The gonads have two functions, the production of gametes and the secretion of hormones. The reproductive gonads are different in women and in men. The gonads in women are the ovaries. They produce eggs and secrete estrogen and progesterone. In men, the gonads are the testes. They produce sperm and secrete testosterone. We already saw that the female reproductive system is in charge of producing eggs. Besides, it prepares the female's body to nourish a developing embryo. It's important to highlight that the ovaries produce only one mature egg each month and that all the reproductive organs are inside the female's body. The reproductive organs in females are the ovaries, which contain thousands of follicles that help mature an egg each month. The fallopian tubes that connect the ovaries and the uterus, and it's the place where fertilization should happen. The uterus, where the baby can grow and develop. There's an opening between the uterus and the vagina. It's called the cervix, and it's a very tiny opening that allows menstruation to flow out or sperm to swim in. It can open up greatly to let a baby out. The vagina is a canal that connects the uterus with the outside world. The female reproductive system is controlled by the menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycle has 4 phases, and the first one, the follicular phase, starts when the brain produces FSH and LH to stimulate a follicle in the ovary. The follicle produces estrogen, and that causes the uterus lining to thicken. When the egg is ready, ovulation happens, controlled by a peak of LH in the body. With this, the egg is released into the fallopian tube and stays there for a couple of days. After this, the luteal phase begins. The follicle turns yellow, and it's called a corpus luteum. The corpus luteum produces progesterone and makes the uterus lining thicken even further. Besides, the egg moves to the uterus. As the uterus detects that there is no pregnancy, the corpus luteum disintegrates and menstruation begins. The production of hormones stops, and so the uterus lining breaks down and menstrual flow begins. The low hormonal levels alert the brain to produce FSH and LH, and the cycle begins again. The male reproductive system is in charge of producing sperm and delivers semen. It's important to highlight from the male's body that the testes produce millions of sperm throughout a man's life. Sperm production requires a lower body temperature, and so the reproductive organs are outside the body. The male reproductive system has the following organs: penis, prostate, seminal vesicle, vas deferens, epididymis, and the testes. The testes are outside the body's cavity, in a skin sac called scrotum. The male's reproductive system shares an important structure with the urinary system. The bladder, in charge of producing urine, and the reproductive system share a conduct called the urethra. The urethra is a structure that goes through the penis and is in charge of releasing urine and semen. Just like in females, the production of gametes starts with the brain. It releases FSH and LH, and that stimulates the production of sperm in the testes. The sperm is produced in tiny tubules inside the testes called the seminiferous tubules. Once produced, they move to the epididymis, where they mature and are stored. Then, the sperm moves to a tube called the vas deferens. The vas deferens takes the sperm inside the body and makes stops in different glands, such as the seminal vesicle and the prostate. These stops are important as the glands produce a nutrient-rich fluid called the seminal fluid. The seminal fluid feeds the sperm, and it protects it from the acidity found in the female's reproductive tract. The sperm and seminal fluid together are called the semen. Semen goes through the vas deferens until it merges with the urethra. The urethra goes inside the penis, and so semen can exit the male's body. This process is called ejaculation. Ejaculation happens when the male is sexually aroused. The autonomic nervous system is in charge of it, meaning that it is not completely voluntary. An average ejaculation ranges from 2 to 6 milliliters of semen, carrying about 200 million sperms. Today is your job to demonstrate your understanding of the male's reproductive system. You're going to answer a Google form about what you just learned. Check Google Classroom for instructions.